Okay, so today we're gonna be talking about strings. So the way I like to see strings are kind of like shoes. You know, each shoe is a variable that holds the name of the shoe, the brand, what kind of shoe it is, and all of those things. So the way I would write that, let's see right here. So I'm gonna ask the user for an input. I could use an input or I could just use variables. So I could say the brand would be, let's say in my case, I have some Nikes. Let me split that. Nike, that's a brand name. And for strings, you always have to put quotation marks whenever you put them into a variable. And then let's say the kind of shoe. I have a lot of Air Forces, so I'm gonna just say some type of shoe is the other variable name. Oh, actually, that I can't. That's a logical error. So let's say kind of, let's say shoe is some Air Force Ones. Boom, something like that. Just for the sake of this, I'm gonna combine these for now. Air Force Ones. Okay, so now I just gave those two variables the names of the strings I wanted to, which is Nike and Air Force Ones for the brand and the kind of shoe. I spelled shoe wrong. Here. Boom. Something simple like that, you know. So now, what if I wanted to combine these two together into just a single variable? That would be called concatenating these two strings. So the way I would do that is I would just go down here, create another variable, just name it the shoe in general, no brand or anything, no kind of shoe, just the whole shoe in general. What I would do is concatenating is just adding two strings together. So the way I would do that is as simple as it sounds. I'd say brand plus the kind of shoe. Kind of shoe. Then, boom, that's simple. So let me show you right here. Python, boom, ran it, saved everything I did, but I didn't print anything out. So what would happen if I did? I'd print, and then I just print the shoe because that's all I want, just to show you the brand name. Then down here, Nike Air Force Ones. But as you can see, it doesn't have a space. So when I concatenate and I add two strings together that I want to be divided, I have to go in here and add a space. So add boom, plus, plus, and two quotes. And in between those quotes, again, I just added a space just so that the computer knows that I should add a space down here. So now we print that again. Python, Nike Air Force Ones. Great shoe. Adds about an inch to everybody's height. But yeah, something simple like that is concatenating. So maybe what if I just wanted to put in both of the variables in the print instead of creating a single variable with both of them? What I could do is, let me just comment this out really quickly. I would go in here, put print, and I'm going to use what's called an F string. So an F string just allows you to just simply put F, quotes, quotes, and then whatever you want in the middle. It doesn't matter. You can have anything. Let me show you. Let me see. There we go. You can have any kind of writing, but it allows you to include variables. Instead of concatenating the variables into the string when you print them, you can just use brackets and put your variable name in there, and that's going to let you print it out a bit simpler. I like using F strings because I feel it's simpler than concatenating. So what I would do is I put F, quotes, and then inside, let's just say a statement. Those are some nice, and I put, boom, brand, Nikes, like, and then space, again, colon, and then kind of shoe. And then as you can see in the F string, I included spaces between nice and brand just to tell the computer I want this space. I don't have to do the whole plus and then another space and then plus and everything else with the F string. I can just tell the computer, do a little plus right, include a little space right there, and that's all I have to do. So now when I go and print this down here, it's just gonna give us back that statement. Nike Air Force Ones. Boom. So let's say instead of the first two, the brand and the kind of shoe, I just have the shoe, which is the Nike Air Force Ones. what if I just had that and I wanted to maybe just, instead of getting the whole thing, I just wanted to get the Nike part or the Air Force Ones part. So each string, so like in this case, Nike, each string has characters. The character N, character I, character K, character E, all of that. And in this case, characters are numbered by places. We always start at 0. Almost every coding language always starts at 0. So let's say N is at position 0, I is at position 1, K is at position 2, K is at position, E is at position 3. So let's say I just wanted to get this first part, the Nike part, and not everything else. I want to leave out the Air Forces and all that, Air Force Ones and all that. What I would do is I'd have to, in a way, slice or cut the name of the shoe brand. So the way I would do that is if I go down here, you can do it print, you can create another variable. I'm going to do it in a print just to show you. I'd print, if I just want to print that part, I'd print and then go in here. And then what I would do is I'd type out the name of my variable, shoe, and I put brackets. So the brackets are just to tell it to go, is just included. And then I'm going to have colons. And then here's where I can put my number and number from the positions I want it to go to. In this case, it'd be from 0 to 4 because I want the first 4 characters. So I could also instead not even include 0 and just put colon and then the number will go to. It works both ways. So I'd put a number and then it'd go to the end of that string here to beginning to whatever you want from that number to the end of the string. So the way I would do it is in this case, I can put 0, colon, and then 4. And then if I go down here, boom, I'm going to just print that Nike because, again, I sliced that and then just put whatever I wanted afterwards. You can also, like I said, not include the 0. So let's say if I didn't include the 0 for that one instance, it still worked. Again, it just goes from the beginning to the number I wanted to. Or in this case, let's say maybe I just want the last part. Maybe I want the Air Force Ones. I could also do something like this, write a statement. I can say F, I want some, then not brackets, so boom, I do shoe, and then I put the brackets in now to tell it to go to the Air Force Ones. So now in this case, a space also counts as a character in a string, so this would be 4, and then Air Force Ones would start at 5. So then I'd start at position 5. So I say boom, 5, 2, and then the end down here. I want some Air Force Ones. Something simple, not too complicated. Just telling it to go from the Air Force Ones all the way to the end. So that's how you kind of slice a string, how you can use F strings, and how you can concatenate strings in order for them to be modified into a single variable. You know, F strings, you could do variables, different kinds. So let's say one thing I actually want to show before the end is to just, the reason F strings are very useful is because you can print out integers without having to convert them into strings. So let's say I have how many shoes I have. Shoes I have equals, let's say I have 5 shoes. If I wanted to print, say, if I wanted to say that I have 5 shoes, I'd do I have 5 shoes. And since I have to say the amount of shoes I have, I'd have to concatenate shoe I have. And you would think this would work because I'm concatenating, correct? Oh. But since I got an integer and I'm trying to put it into a print statement with other characters, it won't work. I have to convert that integer into a string. So what I would have to do was I would have to go in here, put str, put a curly, not curly braces, parentheses over it, and then I'd have to print it out, and then it would work. So I'm converting the integer to a string. That's kind of annoying sometimes, you know. You don't want to have to be worrying about that. Shoes I have, boom, I have 5 shoes. I spelled that wrong. I have, let's say I have, boom. And then again, I'd have to do another plus, and then have to do all this, blank shoes. That's one way of doing it. But again, the reason we or I use, or you can use f strings, is because you don't have to worry about that. You can just put the variable name and not have to worry about if it's an integer or any kind of thing like that. What you can do is I'll put them side by side so you can see. You do print f, boom, I have, boom, shoe, I have, then I have blank shoes. You're going to see down here they give you the exact same results, but in one case you have to concatenate and convert to string. The other case you don't have to. So that's why f strings can be really useful. So we covered f strings, how you can kind of slice a string, and also how they're numbered, and how you can add two strings together to create a single variable. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one.